Hello? Are you still here, friends? It's Dani. Do you remember me? Oh my god, you guys, hi. It has been forever since I've been able to sit in front of you. I miss you guys so much. It's been crazy. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's get to it. What the hell has been going on? So, let's start with July. So I have some notes. If I look down, that's why. So July has been crazy. So I mentioned in another video, maybe when I did my majors, I'll pop that wherever that goes. I can never remember. I started a new job that has got me working out of the house. I haven't done this kind of work in over a decade. It's been about 11 years since I had a job that required me to go out of the house. Not really out of the house, but like not work from home. Like I've worked from home for 11 years. So this has been huge. It's been wild, and it's been a learning experience. And then I've been playing around with schedules and hours and things like that. So everything is being readjusted. It is crazy, but I'm having a good time. I'm in a creative space. The place that I'm working in, I'm doing their photos right now. I'm about to take over their Instagram, which you guys know I love. But what I do is I am working in a space that is a co-op, so a lot of local artists put their artwork there, but they're also a major distributor of vinyl, adhesive and heat transfer vinyl of every shape, size, and color. They also do blanks, so that's like koozies and cups and shirts and jerseys, like anything you want to put something on, she just about has it. So it's wild. It's wild. It's a learning experience, and it's super creative space. So I'm really enjoying myself. But that's been taking up a huge chunk of my time because I've had to rearrange. I can't double task. I can't like work and do personal things at the same time anymore in my own home. So bear with me. I'm trying to get everything situated. Thanks for sticking around if you haven't abandoned me like I've abandoned you. Anyway, I'm back. I'm glad to be back. And hopefully I can get on some kind of schedule where I can put some regular videos out for you guys and just have some chit chats. So let's dive in. Let's kind of do a bit of a wrap up, I guess, for July, since I haven't been able to do that. I thought I was going to be able to, and things got wild again. I have a kindergartner, you guys. Can you believe this? I can't believe this. Just in this past week, Jacob has passed his licensing. He is now a licensed cosmetologist. Oh my god, that's been a year in the making. And my sweet baby started kindergarten. She went for Girls' Day yesterday. Today is Boys' Day, and her official, like, all the class together starts tomorrow. So, kindergartner. So it's been school time. It's been wild. Did I mention that before? It's been wild. So, let's see. How can I wrap up July? Let's start with tarot. Of course, always. So, we all know I still haven't put down revival art. Obviously, it's still on my desk. But I've been using a lot of Pagan Otherworlds this month. Well, this month. July is gone. Last month, and still this month, I guess, that would actually be pretty valid. My RWS, like old school, Centennial Edition, RWS. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that I'm reconnecting with like base imaging and going through the stuff to start on my minors. And it just helps spark that. It helps me get back into the main imagery. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And so yeah, my favorite would probably have to be... There's a lot of stuff going on. Hold on.
My necklace that Dad made me. So beautiful. You made it. Dad just put it together. What? I made it. You still got the hiccups? Give me some water. Give me some water.
If I had to choose a favorite, I guess that's where I was. Lord knows. If I had to choose a favorite, of course, I think it would be my RWS, like I said. Simply because, like, I feel like... Oh, I said like a lot right there. My bad. I feel as though I've been really kind of getting back to the roots of it and really enjoying just working with RWS. So, there's that. That has been my tarot for July. Yeah. That's been it for July. Reading. Let's talk about reading. I read 2 books. Can you believe it? After all that. But I listened to one and I read another. I was really proud of myself for that. This month, not going so well. But last month, I read 2. So my first is complicated, to say the least. It was called, The Fact of a Body, a Murder and a Memoir. This is by Alexandria. Y'all, this is, speaking of murder, I'm about to murder this name. Alexandria Marzano-Lesnevich? Question mark? I'll put it below, for sure. So this one, let me tell you a little bit about it. It's a little, like, I feel like it's complicated, but it's not complicated, but it is complicated. Know what I mean? Okay, so a murder. They talk about, it's not really true crime per se, but they do talk about a true crime murder. So whatever. Ricky Langley in 1992 in Iowa, Louisiana, which is another thing that kind of sparked my interest in it because it has to do with a Louisiana murder. Now, Iowa is pretty far away from me. Very small little town. So in Iowa, Ricky Langley in 1992 murdered, was he 8 or was he 6? I don't remember. I probably should have checked that. He was 6. 6-year-old Jeremy Guillory, like I said, in 1992. So they talk about, she talks about that murder, okay? Now, the memoir is kind of based on the fact and like how they kind of tie together is she was in law school and she was very adamantly against the death penalty. So I believe it was in the summertime, she took an internship down in Louisiana, and the law firm that she interned with were fighting death penalty cases, and one of their cases was Ricky Langley's. Now, she did not work on this case. However, when she got there, they watched his confession tape, and she said she was so hell-bent, her moral standards were no death penalty. No one deserves to be murdered, no matter what. A murder does not constitute a murder kind of idea. Which is, a good way to think. It's a great moral compass, that eye for an eye is not always the case, but we won't go into that. Anyway, for her, it was an absolute. There was no wavering. And then she watched his confession tape and found out that Ricky Langley was a pedophile, a known pedophile, and there's a lot of question on whether or not Jeremy was molested or not. Okay, I'm sorry, triggers. Forgot to say that. This book, if you are triggered in any way, shape, or form by any kind of sexual assault, especially of that with children, stay away from it. Stay away from it. Wholeheartedly, please stay away from it. After seeing this, she said for the first time, she wanted him dead. She wanted to see the death penalty taken out. And that was a big thing for her because she was so adamant. But this kind of dredged up a lot of things. Her childhood, the trauma that she suffered as a kid. I can honestly say, I mean, as a mother of a 5-year-old child, almost 6-year-old child, and hearing her story and then like knowing what happened to Jeremy Guillory, I wanted to come out of my skin. I was like physically ill in some places. Like I burst out, you know, in certain aspects. I was like, no, or, you know, swear words, curses, all of it came out in some parts. It was so gut-wrenching and disgusting. But it's something that wasn't crudely done. It was part of the story, and it really gave perspective. And so this was why she chose to kind of dive into this, because she, like I said, she didn't work on this case, but like after the fact, she came back and she's like, because I had this kind of gut reaction, I need to understand this. I need to know why. I need to know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, long story short, hold on, excuse me. Long story short, this kind of goes into like things that happened to her, what's happening in the case. There's still a lot of speculation as to what took place. There are other players. It kind of dives into that true crime aspect as well as a memoir, and it does do it pretty well. I have to say, I mean, I don't know what I expected because I didn't know this book coming into it. It was something that I literally came across, and I knew nothing about. So just from, oh, this sounds interesting, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know where it was going. And from there, I say this was a good book, but in so many ways, it was incredibly unsatisfying. And I think that's just true crime in general. You know, like, I enjoyed hearing her story, and for that, I felt that really wrapped itself up, and I really feel like I understood her story, I understood where she was coming from, and I understood why she ended there. Like, her story, I really did enjoy the way that she wove it in there and she wound it up. But the story of Ricky Langley murdering Jeremy and the case files that she talks about and the facts that she talks about and the crime itself, there is still so much unknown. There are so many different factors that I'm like, but what about this? But why didn't she go into this? And it's like, I guess the true crime aspect, the murder aspect, I feel like there was so much left unsaid. There was so much that was just like, but what happened? And it's like, I know that it was supposed to be woven in and like her story of where she was with it and how she found, but like the murderino in me just wants to know more detail. I need to know more about this case. And so in that way, it was unsatisfying. I would probably give this book, I know sometimes I give stars. I need to start remembering to give them stars all the time. I would probably rate this as a 2. I was glad that I read it. I think it was done very well. I think she was very informative. There's really nothing bad, but I just still felt like unsatisfied by it. So I guess that's just a thing. So anyway, speaking of Murderino, I got my hands on Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered by Karen Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark from my favorite podcast, My Favorite Murder. Yay! So this book was a lot of fun. It was funny. It was informative. They talk a lot about mental health, and they talk a lot about their past and the things that they've learned. I'm trying to find some of these pictures. They also have great fan art in here, which I love. So obviously this is the podcast that I listen to religiously, and I was really excited to get my hands on this book because it talks a lot about them. Obviously, this is a dual memoir, so it talks about their struggles with addiction and mental health, eating disorders, and family happenings, and so many other things. It was one of these stories, you know, all these stories together. It was like one of those things where it's like you really feel connected to this other person, like the things that you would tell one of your best friends on a night that you're just kind of spilling your guts out to each other. That's kind of how it felt. It's like you got to meet these women on such a deep level that it's like you already feel, because I mean, you listen to their podcast and it's just like a couple of friends. I mean, it's just a couple of friends talking to each other that you're included in, you know? So it's like diving in and getting to know your friends more. So it was really exciting. And like I said, they talk a lot about mental health. They talk a lot about the things that they've learned in therapy, and the things that they've kind of worked on and are working on and have accomplished, and how they're kind of dealing with all these things, being in the spotlight and kind of having such a huge following, and what that kind of means. So I feel like if you are a fan of the podcast and you have not read the book, find it, get it. They also have the audio book, which they've read, and I did listen to it as well. So I read it and then I listened to it in the car because I kind of wanted to hear them talk about it, say things, you know, in their own voices, even though I could hear that in my head as I read it. I thought it was really nice the way that they did their audiobook as well. So if you are a fan, go out, read it. I give it about a 3. I think it was a great book. And for what it was the perfect amount, right? I feel like even if you haven't heard the podcast, it's not like you're separated and like you wouldn't understand anything, but I do feel like it would be more interesting if you kind of knew who these people were already. So I will say that. But for me, it was a definite yes. So let's move on to, I guess, art, because that will flow into August. The rest has just been kind of a creative endeavor. So let's kind of start with, bullet journal, right? So I'll link those wherever they go. You know, I can never remember. For July, I did a really fun kind of cosmic theme, and I had a really great time with the extra page. So I totally loved having that. And then, oh, you can see what I created right here. I'll kind of come back and talk about this. That bad boy. And then I'll show you August. So August, I'll link that one up here somewhere too, is the one I just posted. I'm already having a great time. I think this is the same kind of setup I'm going to be doing from now on. So that's what I did bullet journal wise. I felt very accomplished in it this month, well, in July, and already in this month. I feel like I've been keeping up with it. I've been utilizing it the way that I feel like I should. Like, I don't know. Having that extra page just gives me the freedom to jot down ideas and doodle and kind of express myself in a different way. I don't feel so restrained, I guess, with it. So I really did like that. Another thing that I made my own runes. These I made out of polymer clay. I had such a great time making these. And then I got super messy because I wanted to have them in my little bag. I wanted to make them look kind of distressed. You can kind of see on the back. This was the original color. They were brown. I think I posted them on my Instagram when I was baking them. And you can kind of see them on there. I'll put my thing at the bottom if you want to check out my Instagram that shows that. So you can see they were brown. I took acrylic ink and I took my black acrylic ink and I just kind of rubbed it in and did a stain on it. Hey, it's not so bad though. I mean, it's kept it. It doesn't come off on my hands. Now it took a hot minute to dry. It probably took, I would say 2 or 3 days to really dry because I could touch it a couple of days after and it's still, I'm just double checking. It still had some stuff on my fingers, but I don't think it's coming off anymore. Anyway, not something that I would do again because it was hella messy. My fingers were black for 3 days. I could not get them off. So I have some more. I'm going to make some more of these, but instead of doing acrylic ink on top and making a complete mess, I think I'm going to put some black into the brown and kind of like make kind of a swirl look to it to give it a little more of a rustic feel and just do it in a cleaner way. I don't know. We'll see how that comes out. So I plan on making a few more. I really like these because it feels like, I mean, having it in that kind of clay, it feels good in the hands. They're still a little pliable because it is polymer clay, but they just feel good in the hand. So I really enjoy these. So I'll probably make a couple more sets of these. Then, okay, let's side note art for a bit and talk about July being my birthday month because I got some really exciting packages and I want to talk about that before I get into the rest of the stuff because that'll just kind of gunk up our time. Okay, so sidebar, it was my birthday in July, yay, cancers. So I got some really happy mail in July, sorry, I got y'all wobbly. I received from my sweet friends, Dustin and Lisa, I got some really beautiful, look, I'm going to show you the bottom part. This beautiful envelope, can you guess from who? That would be Dustin and Modern Metaphysic Man. I received this beautiful watercolor postcard with some beautiful calligraphy on the back. And Dustin made me a Peerless watercolor palette. You guys, how freaking awesome. Look at this. Look at these colors. They are fantastic. I'm super excited. Super excited. So Dustin sent me that. I'm totally going to use it on here. I haven't had a chance to even touch it, but I will be all over it very soon. I'll show you guys maybe next month. And then I got something very exciting. Peggy bags. You guys, so Lisa at Supportive Tarot and Peggy sent me some Peggy bags, you guys. Oh my God. So this one, this gorgeous bag, was to house my beloved Revival art. And it did for a hot minute, but it kept nagging at me. I was like, no, I know what needs to go in here. And I normally don't switch bags, but it just felt right. I decided to switch this. So I cleansed it and I smudged it for my Antique Anatomy Tarot, or, well, the Modern Tarot Reader. Tarot. I just don't know what I want to call this. But regardless, you guys, it was perfect for this. It called for it. It was like, no me, no me. So I have that in there. And then this other really fun swirls for, can you guess? Can you guess what this is for? The Marielle, of course, because it's perfect. It is perfect. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Dustin. I love my surprises. And I say that because my main birthday gift from my honey, my hubby, was my silhouette machine. So my silhouette machine, remember I said I was going to come back and talk about this beautiful sticker here. The silhouette machine is basically like a cutting machine. And I really, really, really wanted to start creating my own digital art, and I wanted to be able to put it on stuff. And I was like, I just don't know what I should do. And then when I started working at the co-op, I realized I know what I need now. So I went out and I got my silhouette machine, and I have been practicing and I have been trying digital art. I got my Apple pen, my Apple Pencil. And I took my iPad and I downloaded Procreate. So that's why I said this art, we had to take a quick detour because these were my birthday gifts. So what I have done is I have been practicing and doing a bit of digital art. So, excuse me, I got the Procreate app, which I definitely recommend. Oh, you can see my stuff right here. I have been doodling, and you can kind of see a couple of my things in here. Learning, practicing, playing with the pens, and I'm still diving in. There's so much to learn. This app is so intense. There's so many little bits and pieces that you can do. It's been hella fun. But I designed a couple of pieces, and I also designed my own logo. So for those of you who don't know yet, I have transitioned my Etsy, which was Gray Moon, into Witch in the Wild. Now there was a lot of reasons why I did this, but for the most part, I kind of wanted to separate a couple of things, and Etsy really doesn't allow you to do certain things. So I thought, you know what, it's time to put Gray Moon aside and transition everything into the Witch in the Wild. So that's what I did. My tarot readings are still in there. We're going to have a couple more that are going to be popping up, some new spreads that I'm going to be offering, some customizable spreads that I'm going to be offering. But I say that to say that a lot of the stuff that was on there you will be seeing again, but it will be rebranded. Of course, like I was saying, my tarot readings will be on there. That hasn't moved at all. And slowly but surely, I'm starting to add new things to this shop. It's going to be fun and exciting, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Anyway, and a lot of my other stuff is just going to come through a branding change. So different color bottles for my smudge sprays, different labels for my oils and my smudge sprays. So nothing's going to change on those, just the outlook of them, right? Color of the bottle and the type of label. So speaking of label, speaking of this, I was able to, on Procreate, hand letter my logo. Check this out. I'm going to do the time-lapse replay. You can see as I create my logo and set it up for some stickers that I've been putting into all of my orders from Gray Moon to show the transition to the Witch in the Wild. And so that was really exciting. So all of my own hand lettering will be on my labels, as well as some stickers that you get when you order from me. So I was really pumped that I could set this all up and print it all out with my, do I have it? I think I have it. With my silhouette machine. No. Haha. I have it with me. So you could see my stickers. They came out great. So that's my own handwriting. I was so proud, you guys. I was so excited about it. So I was able to get some stickers, which means that I really want to create some actual like sticker packs that I can use for my bullet journal that I can offer you guys. I'm really excited about that. So I'm planning on trying to create some in the next month or so I can use it in my bullet journal. I can like draw my own stuff and put it in there. It'll be fun. And then if you've been to my shop, you've seen these already, or if you follow The Witch in the Wild on Instagram. Etsy, there's no the, it's just Witch in the Wild, but Instagram, there was already Witch in the Wild, so I had to put a the, you know what I mean. Anyway, social media. You have already seen these. If you have not, I'm going to show you these. So I have been creating my own sigils to use for my spell candles. So instead of drawing them on with a piece of paper or with a Sharpie, I can now put vinyl stickers and create my own spell candles. So I have created a few that I personally use, and I've also put them on my shop. You can see my my collection up there. That hasn't been done yet, but I have one for creativity, which is one of my favorites. It's got some runes on here. I explained all my sigil and stuff in my description, but it was so much fun to create. That was the first thing that I created. And then I also created this one, which I believe I'm gonna put on a few other things. I think I want this on a tote. I think I want to put this on a few other ones. I was really excited about the planchette. This one is for ancestry work and connecting with spirit. So I just thought this was really fun to do for this spell candle. And then my ultimate. I'm obsessed with this candle. I love it so much. This is my abundance. So we have a honeycomb, we have wealth and prosperity runes, and dripping honey. So I really love this one. So this is what I've been doing, what I've been creating in my spare time. You can see some of the work that I've done. Sorry, that's Charlie. Charlie's fussing. But you can see all of my digital art. So I'm learning. There's so much that I have to learn about Procreate, and there's so much that I'm figuring out, but every time it just gets better and better and better. So I've really been diving into my shop because I'm slowly trying to go into the space where that is my job. That is what I do. So I am working really hard at trying to build my brand and do that well. And speaking of, for those of you who haven't seen, I'm going to link that one here too. I did get my majors in for my deck that I'm creating right now. Working title, Mystic Masters. I don't know if that's going to change or not, but I got my majors in. I was so jazzed about it. There's a couple of things I got to fix, so that's going to be done, and I am going into my minors right now. So this month, I want to, my main goal is to have my cups done. Ace through King. I want my cups done. At least, you know, picture wise. Like I want to find all of my cups because it does take a really long time to find the images. But I've already started. So I for sure want to have all that done. I want it all printed out. And then, if not painted and textured, at least almost there. That's my goal. I have 15 days to do 16 cards. I don't know if I'm gonna meet that goal, but that is my goal. And I'm hoping to have it done soon. I'm so excited, and I appreciate all of your feedback and all of your well wishes and all of your comments. Thank you. Thank you. I take everything into consideration, and I really appreciate all the love that I'm getting for these. I am flabbergasted that this is happening. Did you hear that? That was these. I could shuffle even these. I'm really excited about this card stock. Anyway, so that is what I'm working on in August. So what else? Let me make sure that I went through my whole list of what I wanted to talk about. Let's do that. I talked about that. I talked about that. I talked about that. And yeah. Oh, the only other thing is that I will be working on cleansing and setting up my altar for the autumn equinox that's coming up on September 23rd. Don't quote me. So I want to make sure that my altar is cleansed and I start preparing for the equinox, which is one of my favorites. So I'm really excited to give my altar a revamp, and I'm also revamping some stuff in this room because we are moving desks around now that I'm not doing my full-time work in my workspace in the front. I'm going to be moving that desk. We're going to be moving a couple things around, situating it, setting up a desk in Lynn's room. That way she can have her little art corner herself. And so we might have some moving around that will be done behind me at the end of August as well. I'm going to be working with, and I'll be doing a walkthrough of Fairy Lights Tarot, which I love. This is so fun. And the books that I have on my desk right now, I don't know how far I'm gonna get. I can't guarantee I'm gonna finish reading these. I can definitely tell you I'm not gonna finish reading this one. But I am diving into Women Who Run with the Wolves. I've been having this on my shelf for quite a while. I snatched it up. It was a great price, but I have not had the time to read it. So I am diving into that. And I'm also diving into The Witch's Book of Self-Care. I've been having this since it came out. I had pre-ordered it, but again, I just haven't sat down and read it. I'm hoping that it's really good. I've heard a lot of people talk about the Green Witch book that she has, and then up here somewhere, I think it's up there, yeah. I have the House Witch book as well, because I've heard so many good things. So again, those were for a good price, so I snatched those up a couple months ago, but haven't been able to read them. So that's on my list to do as well. So that's kind of what's been happening with me. I've just had a lot all at once. Like I said, I also now have a kindergartner, so I've been momming really hard when I'm not at work. So I'm still trying to gain some footing as far as routines go, and just kind of resetting. It's like a reset. I guess it was perfect timing though, right? It was my birthday in July, and literally I started my job the day after my birthday. So it's been like, hey, new year, toss up in the air. This is all new. This is all new. So, here's what I'm thinking though. Things are gonna be changing a little bit. Not much, but like changing a little bit. So I'm gonna try to be consistent, because I do want to create routine that's easily workable for me and for everything around me that's going on, because Jacob is starting a new job. Like I said, he passed his licensing on the 12th, yay! And so as soon as his license comes in through the mail, then he's going to be starting on work, and everything is still shifting and changing. So I'm trying to develop a routine that's going to work for me, that I can still do the things that I love and hang out with you guys. So we might have some shorter content, like, you know, shorter little videos of little spells or little things that I'm doing around the house. Tarot updates. I'm going to be updating you guys from now on my progress of my tarot deck. So definitely look for those. Maybe some behind the scenes stuff. Like I said, with all of this going on, I had to shut down my Patreon because it was just too much. I didn't have the time to devote to it, so I just had to punch reset on everything. So this is going to be here, and my Instagram, Gray Moon Mystic, is where I'm going to be updating my deck progress. Like I said, all of my Etsy stuff is now Witch in the Wild on Etsy. All those links are going to be below. if you're looking for anything there. And yeah, so we're gonna reset. I'm gonna try to keep up with walk through Wednesday. I don't know if it's going to be every week, maybe every other week. We'll kind of see how that goes. But I'm going to try to pop on and do some like impromptu quick little videos just to like keep in touch with you guys, because I feel like the past few weeks have been so disjointed and so disconnected, and I just kind of want to go back to the roots and back to why I started. So we're gonna do this together, and I look forward to what's to come this year. So I'm sending you all my love as usual. If you're looking for me, all my links are below. All of my love, you guys. All of it. Mwah. Later, Gators.